Hi, folks. Tim Forshey here again with my thoughts on the week. In case you haven't heard, this week, California Governor Gavin Newsom, who's doing such a splendid job fighting crime and skyrocketing taxes and homelessness in his own home state, has now proposed a fantastically brilliant idea. Let's get 38 states to ratify a 28th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which would modify the Second Amendment. Seems to me that you could just say we're going to repeal the Second Amendment and save some ink, but be that as it may, Newsom is quick to point out in his news releases that this proposed amendment, and I'm not kidding, will, quote, keep the Second Amendment unchanged. I kid you not. You have to ask yourself sometimes if these people can actually read. In this proposal, Gavin's calling for several things. Number one, constitutional implementation of a universal background check. By the way, ask someone who proposes that to define what that means sometime. Be prepared for a complete Gomer Pyle blank stare in response. Who's going to pay for these universal background checks? Who's going to perform these universal background checks? Where do we go to get these universal background checks? Nobody seems to have those answers. We just want universal background checks. Number two, Gavin thinks that a constitutional implementation of raising the age for the lawful purchase of firearms to 21 from 18 is a really, really great idea. This, of course, would keep the age for military enlistment at 18. And this all harkens back to me to something I remember from my childhood, the second most recent amendment of the U.S. Constitution, the 26th, back in 1971, which lowered the age to vote to 18. Why did we pass that at the time? Because a whole bunch of people ages 18 to 21 were being drafted and subsequently killed in the Vietnam War with no voice whatsoever in who was sending them there. So we decided that seemed a bit hypocritical. So, gosh, let's go ahead and lower the voting age to 18, which obviously most people think is a good idea at this point. So please tell me now then, how are you going to tell a 19-year-old Marine that he or she isn't old enough to buy a firearm? And oh, by the way, now let's go ahead and have you climb into the $10 million M1 Abrams tank with the 120 millimeter cannon and let's take that out for a spin. Seems pretty stupid and hypocritical to me. The third thing Governor Newsom is proposing is a waiting period before the purchase of guns. And I think we've all seen how well that reduces crime. I mean, gosh, people never plan these mass murders in advance or they plan any gang shootings more than a few days in advance. So I'm sure that it'll all blow over and they'll go back to singing Kumbaya if we just make them come back a few days from now to pick up their gun. I think that's going to be good for everybody. And drum roll, number 4, nobody saw this coming. No civilian ownership of so-called assault weapons. People are killed in the United States every year by being pummeled with hands and feet. I'm not making this up. Then are killed by all types of rifles combined, let alone the small percentage of that that's actually so-called assault rifles. Remember the original 13 colonies? Well, if at least 13 states still feel that the Second Amendment is important enough to secure freedom, then we won't have to worry about 38 states deciding otherwise and taking that away from us. Get involved, folks. Tell Gavin, by the way, that when we can all feel safe visiting a Walgreens in San Francisco, California once again, that will ask for his opinion about the rest of the country. Take care. Stay safe. Thanks for tuning in. Please feel free to click and subscribe below. Take care.